Students are reminded that there's no such thing as free time.
Two Point Hospital, while a fantastic management sim in its own right, was enhanced a lot thanks to its sense of humor. The game was successful enough to get quite a few updates, including some insane DLC, and now we have the studio taking on a similar concept, albeit with a brand new setting. Enter 2 Point Campus, a management sim where you have to build and maintain a university campus. Depending on who you ask, it's either awesome or a bit of a shame that 2 Point Campus doesn't really stray too far from its predecessor's formula. Despite taking place in a vastly different setting, 2 Point Campus essentially shares the same DNA as 2 Point Hospital, and in many ways you can see that the developers have evolved and became more confident in the formula with the new game. When you consider the bare minimum that 2 Point Campus has to do, offer up a compelling management game where, rather than feeling tedious, juggling priorities and putting out proverbial fires all over the place feels actually fun, the game manages it quite well. 2 Point Campus has to be commended for its onboarding experience for those new to the genre. Its tutorial does a phenomenal job of teaching you the ins and outs of running your own college, be it the basic stuff like how you go about hiring staff and building rooms for the various classes your university offers, up to more complex concepts like figuring out how to keep your students and staff happy, and how to schedule regular events to make use of the various buffs they offer. All of this might sound like maybe 2 Point Campus might lack a bit of depth, and while that might be true when compared to something like Dwarf Fortress, but make no mistake, 2 Point Campus definitely has a fair amount of depth to it, especially in later levels, where you have to start figuring out how to effectively manage your floor space to offer courses on multiple subjects, rather than simply focusing on 1 or 2 classes. It is worth noting that the personnel management aspect doesn't quite go as deep as something you might see in a colony sim like RimWorld. That's one aspect where 2 Point Campus keeps things relatively simple. Hire a person to do the job, maybe train them to be able to do multiple jobs, or do their original job even better, and fire them if they're not well suited for your college. You don't really get to dive into options like having rooms prioritize specific staff members, or even being able to set priorities for your staff members. The closest you can really get is the ability to pick them up and put them in another room. There's also something to be said about just how much of an emphasis 2 Point Campus places on aesthetics, something it shares with 2 Point Hospital. You're going to have to make your classrooms, staff rooms, dormitories, and even bathrooms look pretty. While this may not come up early on in your university's life, it definitely becomes an important aspect to keep an eye on, especially as your university grows in size. In fact, leveling up your rooms largely revolves around putting more things in them, and this includes something to spruce up the aesthetics, be it a poster on the wall or the dorm room, or a potted plant in a private tuition room. Aesthetics end up mattering quite a bit in 2 Point Campus. Students and professors don't really want to hang out in ugly places after all. The big new feature of 2 Point Campus, the ability to build outdoors rather than being confined to the insides of buildings, becomes rather easy to avoid in the main campaign. How it works is that at some point in your university's life, you're going to run out of room and want to expand by buying up a neighborhood plot. Doing so allows you to either build your own new building in your new plot or let the game do it for you. Sadly, 2 Point Campus doesn't do much to highlight the new build-it-yourself option the first time you see the screen, and it was only after spending several more hours in the game did I realize that this was an option. Honestly, more than anything else, the writing of 2 Point Campus sets it apart from just about anything else in the genre, apart from 2 Point Hospital and classics like Sim Hospital, of course. Rather than teaching real subjects in your university, you're going to be taking on students interested in learning how to pursue careers as clowns, secret agents, and wizards. Even the clubs you can set up for your students are insane, such as a Speedwalkers Club. In terms of visuals, 2 Point Campus is essentially a nicer, sharper-looking 2 Point Hospital. Nothing much has changed in its art style, but rather more of the silly details that 2 Point Hospital prided itself on are visible in 2 Point Campus. One of my favorite things to do is to just pick a staff member or student in any of my universities and follow them around. watching how they interact, with this absurd excuse for an educational institute I've ended up building, and all the insanity that might arise when, for example, I kick off a party for the students in their lounge room. 2 Point Campus is a wonderful game, and while it may not go too deep into its simulation aspects, this helps it quite a bit in actually maintaining a level of accessibility that few other games in the genre can manage. This fact, along with the fact that 2 Point Campus basically oozes charm and good humor from every angle possible, makes it a fantastic game to introduce new players to the genre. Its great tutorial helps a lot here too, slowly teaching players new mechanics, subjects, and aspects of college administration. The biggest drawback of 2 Point Campus is the fact that it doesn't really do much new when compared to 2 Point Hospital. In most aspects, this is a great thing, but to put it another way, there isn't really much new it's bringing to the table. This ultimately means that those who already play 2 Point Hospital might feel hard-pressed to leave it and its absurd amount of content behind for a new game. If you're already a fan of 2 Point Hospital, you better really like the new college setting, or it would be better off if you just waited for some DLC to drop before taking the plunge. 2 Point Campus is nonetheless a great game that stands on its own feet, and while it may not be doing much new, at least it isn't overshadowed by its predecessor. If you're looking for a charming way to basically see all your free time disappear, 2 Point Campus is an easy game to recommend, even if you don't have much in the way of experience with the management sim genre. It's clever, it's fun, and most importantly, it doesn't get too complicated in all the wrong ways. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.